today's the day. Kaldheim is officially released onto MTG Arena. We can buy packs and start testing with it. They are not legal for standard play just yet, but we can also go over some of these cards that I like. Now, I'm not very big on knowing stuff that how good it is for standard or historic a whole lot. I'm generally a lot better at knowing stuff for Commander, Vintage, and competitive EDH. But we're going to go over some of what I think are some of the better hitters for this whole set. We're going to go over what I think are some of the better cards in this set and explain a little bit why I like them or where I like them. So getting right into it, we're going to start with Doomscar. It is a 3-mana Wrath. You have to foretell it for 2 on turn 2, which I think is great. I have tried playing a little bit of blue-white control in Historic, and I feel like Doomscar is a straight-up upgrade over Shatter the Sky. I think the fact that you can give your opponent a card off of Shatter the Sky is so much worse than Doomscar. Excuse me, I cannot pronounce Doomscar. Anyways, I feel like even at 5 mana, it is not terrible. But the fact that you can play it for 3, if you foretell it on turn 2, is going to be great. I think it helps blue-white versus goblins. It helps blue-white versus the regular mono-red deck that I've been seeing. I just think All-Star, Slam Dunk, Shatter the Sky, out, Doomscar, in. I also think it's going to build some kind of foretell deck in Standard. I don't necessarily know what. I also think it's going to be decent in Modern. And as always, Wraths are always good in Commander and probably even Gladiator. Next card, Search for Glory. 2 and a white, Snow Sorcery. You search your library for a Snow permanent card, a legendary card, or a Saga card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Gain a life for each Snow spent to cast this spell. The secondary line of gaining life for each Snow, we're just going to disregard that. We're not worried about that. The fact that this tutors up Snow permanents, so it can tutor up lands if you need them, dual lands even, so that's really nice. Legendary cards, that is great, and sagas. There are a few sagas I kind of like. Overall, from a current history of Magic, I think this is a great card. Mostly, I think it's great for Commander and Gladiator. For regular 60 card constructed, not so much. I'm not sure if it will see a lot of play. It could. I'm not saying it won't. I personally don't see what you can do with it. Going into Ascendant Spirit, it's not bad. I like it. I like being able to increase its power as games go on. I'm just not so sure it's something that blue is going to want to play. At least blue and Historic. Standard, maybe. I think it's a possibility for Standard. The fact that it does take 10 mana to make it a 4/4 with 2+1/+1 counters, flying, and when it deals combat damage to draw a card, I'm not so sure about that. But a 1-mana 1/1 is par for the course for any color other than, well, green generally. Paying 3 mana to make it a 2/3, it's not terrible. But having to pay an extra 3 mana to be a 4/4 flyer, that I'm not so sure about. That's 6 mana for a 4/4 flyer. I don't know. I do think it is good. The fact that the abilities can be used at instant speed, I do like a lot better. Needing to be snow mana hurts if you don't have a lot of snow lands. Moving on, Cosima, God of Voyage, and the Omen Keel. Definitely think this is a cool card for Commander. I think Cosima is amazing, being able to draw lots of cards, even if it is in the 99. Not 100% sure about Gladiator, but even in Gladiator, I actually think I like the Omen Keel, especially if you're building some kind of vehicles deck, which I might actually try to build. Regular 60 card constructed. I don't think you were going to see this. Cosmos Charger is a blue and 3 costing creature, horse spirit, 3/3, flash and flying. Foretelling cards from your hand costs 1 less and can be done on any player's turn. As a what I'm calling a foretell lord, I don't think it's bad. I really don't. I'm not so sure. Like, I think this might see some play in standard. Maybe not right now, but maybe 4 or 5 months down the line. I think it could. There is a bunch of tools for the foretell deck, and they're actually in my list of things that I like. But being able to play Cosmos Charger, Doomscar, maybe not Mystic Reflection, although Mystic Reflection's not bad either. I think it's neat, and being able to foretell at the end of someone's turn when you're like, do I need to be able to play this at instant speed, or can I just foretell a couple cards? I like it. Going to Behold the Multiverse is an instant for 3 and a blue, scry 2, then draw 2. Or you can foretell for 2, 1 and a blue. I think it's good. It helps you use mana on turns that you may not be able to fully utilize them. Turns, 5+. And if you were, let's say you were on you had 7 mana sources in play, and you played a Teferi, you could potentially play Teferi, use Teferi to draw a card, and he would untap 2 lands at your end turn. You would exile this face down, and then if you didn't need to play something like Negate, Disdainful Stroke, or Censor, or what have you, you could use Behold the Multiverse to scry 2 and draw 2 cards. So I feel like this is a bit of an upgrade to some of the other draw. Going to Depart the Realm. I like it as a nice bounce spell, although I'm not so sure I really want to be playing bounce spells a whole lot unless people are double blocking me, but I don't see a deck where this is currently going to be wanting to see play. Depart the Realm as a card itself for 1 and a blue, I like. The foretell making it technically more expensive, I don't know, but I also like the fact that your opponents don't know what you're foretelling, so having a variety of things, Cosmos Charger, Behold the Multiverse, Depart the Realms, Mystic Reflection, Doomscar, that way they have to keep guessing. That's a bit of a bonus for you. Alright, so we'll go into Mystic Reflection. Mystic Reflection, I don't think is going to see competitive play, although I have an idea for a standard deck that's going to play it. One that I plan to build. It's definitely more of a casual type deck, but it sounds like fun to me, and once I get it built, I will definitely share some videos of it. But I think where this is going to see a bit more play, and I still don't think it's going to see a lot of play, is competitive EDH, because right now Consultation, Demonic Consultation, Thassa's Oracle is really big. And the fact that someone could put a Thassa's Oracle on the stack to win, and you could cast Mystic Reflection and be like, target like a Llanowar Elf or Birds of Paradise and be like, well, the next creature that enters is a copy of that. Thassa enters and it is now a Llanowar Elf. So you can potentially stop someone with winning with it. I think it's neat though, because you could also potentially stop people's Tymnas, Thrasioses, and other things. So in competitive EDH, I do think it has the potential to do a lot. Playing it again in something like Gladiator or Singleton, when someone were to, or even Commander, if someone's going to drop a Crater Hoof, being able to be like, yeah, that's not going to be that, seems good to me. So I think it'll see play. I think it's going to see a lot more casual play, but it will see play. And I think this card could, like, it's probably going to be a $1, $2 card for quite some time. I don't see it being a super expensive card for Standard or Historic or Modern. But again, there could be something I'm just missing. Playing Avenger of Zendikar, and then on Avenger of Zendikar's trigger, casting this, I think it's crazy. Because you're going to get a bunch of Avenger of Zendikars coming into play that are going to make a ton of tokens. But that takes like 9 mana. But still, I think a crazy thing that you can do. Varroth the Blood Sky Sire. I like him. Definitely more casual. Comes down turn 3, and then turn 4 you can pay 2 mana to go tutor something, well, put something on top of your library, so you don't even get it that turn. But then I think it combos well to play him with Foretell. So like, he's a 2/3 death touch, you attack, and you could put something like Cosmos Charger on top of your deck. And then like you could foretell something like Behold the Multiverse or Depart or any of that kind of stuff. And I like it. And like I feel like there's a deck where you could play the Foretell mechanic with Varrogoth and maybe Esper of some sort. I'm not sure, but that's where I'm feeling you could go. Bergi, God of Storytelling, 2 in a red, 3/3 God, and Harnfell, Horn of Bounty, 4 in a red, legendary artifact. So I'm definitely a Storm player. I love the Storm. I love Storm mechanic. Bergi really tries to push the Storm mechanic. Cast a spell, you get an extra red. It is great. It is not bad at all. I think I'm going to honestly play something like Bergi in my Neheb Dreadhorde Champion CEDH deck, where it's built to try to... It doesn't go infinite, but it tries to just take a ton of combat steps in a row and just take everybody out with commander damage. Being able to discard your hand, draw cards, add mana, and then whenever you cast stuff, add even more. I think Bergi is okay. I don't see it as being that good unless you're gonna, potentially just start casting a lot of spells. But in a deck like Neheb, he's planning to cast a bunch of spells. So even casting like 0 drops and 1 drops to net a mana, or like paying 1 mana, playing a mana bolt, adding a red, tapping it for 3. Then if you already have another red available, that's 5 mana already. That's pretty fast, and that doesn't even include what mana you could have produced off in the Heb just discarding a couple cards. So Bergie is okay, but what I really like is Harnfell. Discarding a card, especially something you don't need to exile the top 2 cards to be able to play them. I think Harnfell is going to be a much better card for Storm type decks. But you have to be careful, because if you exile too many cards and you just can't cast them, you're going to lose them. So I think it's neat. I think Bergie's creatures you control can boast twice during each of your turns rather than once is just more of a cute add-on text to it. I think it would have been fine with just the first phrase, just the adding extra red. I think it would have been fine with that. Boasting twice, I don't really see a whole lot of things that have boast that I think are going to be that good. Just not so sure about it. Going into Frostbite, Lightning Bolt is back in standard. You gotta have 3 or more snow permanents, so turn 3 with just snow basics. But I don't think it's bad. 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. So Lightning Bolt, but can't hit players. I still think it's pretty good removal. Anything that's single red deals 3 damage is always worth looking at in standard. I don't think it's worth looking at in historic. Asika got out of the tree, and the Prismatic Bridge. Asika costs green, and 1. It is a 1/4 god. Vigilant. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. Other legendary creatures you control have vigilance, and tap, add 1 mana of any color. Backside, Prismatic Bridge, Wooburg, legendary enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature or planeswalker card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So let's go over Prismatic Bridge first. Pretty awesome enchantment for 5-color Gladiator. Just getting a creature or planeswalker out of it for free seems awesome. Makes me really want to build like a 5-color Super Friends deck. Just being able to slam that out as fast as you can, and then like maybe play some planeswalkers that you want to play. We'll play 5 colors, but we'll try to keep more in 3 colors for the planeswalkers, and then I think play shrines. And like that's what I want to do as a Gladiator deck, and I think it's going to be fun. I don't think it's going to necessarily be that good, but it'll be fun. Now let's go over to Asika. I really like Asika. Playing a deck that tries to focus more on legendary creatures that are a little cheaper in cost, I think is going to be a cool build for Commander, where so you get 5 colors of legends and you want to try to play a bunch of the cheaper ones, but the fact that you can slam her into play, they get vigilance, so you can attack and then go to your second main phase. Since you've now attacked, you can now tap them for mana and play spells, or even play spells during combat. I think Asika is gonna be pretty sweet in Commander and Gladiator. I'm not sure if there will be much play for this in Standard. There's almost no... There's nothing I can think of for Historic that's going to even want to attempt this. And Modern is way too fast. Asika's Chariot, though, I think this card's going to see Standard play. I really do. I don't think it's going to see Historic or Modern play, but the fact that it's a 4-mana 4/4 vehicle that comes into play and creates 2/2/2s. That means you play this turn 3, most likely turn 3. You get a couple kitties, you go to your next turn. You use those cats to crew it. You attack, and now you make a token that can now block. I like it. Also, if you're playing a little bit of white and you can make 4/4 angels, being able to crew it with a 4/4 angel and then just make a 4/4 angel, I think is going to be really good too. So, I think Asika's Chariot will see some standard play. Maybe not a whole lot, but like I think it is a great 2-of in a deck. Finn the Fangbearer. Another legendary creature for 1 and a green. It is a 1/3 with Death Touch. Human warrior. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. So 10 poison counters, you lose. I feel like this is going to force some kind of Death Touch deck. Just not sure. I think this one here really tries to push Death Touch pretty hard, and the fact that he deals with poison counters really, besides the fact that one of the Praetors is back in the set, really makes me think New Phyrexia is next. I think Finn is cool. He's neat. I don't know about constructed play. He does need to deal damage 5 times to let you win. It depends. I know a couple of the runes. I did like a couple of the rune cards. Let's see here. So Rune of Sustenance, Lifelink, no. Rune of Flight, I feel would be pretty cool for him, giving him flying. That's just Death Touch. +1/+0 in haste. Okay, Rune of Might granting Trample. So playing him and Rune of Might in a deck, I think would be like great. And then you play Rune Crown. So it's crazy. I think that is crazy and a possible deck. So, but he has to deal combat damage to a player and they get 2 poison counters. It doesn't matter how much damage he deals, but like I feel like trying to build a deck with 4 Finns, 4 Rune of Mights, 4 Rune Crown. This one here, we're not wanting to play black, I don't think. Maybe playing blue so we can play this one here. Granting flying. Whoopsies, didn't mean that. Anyways, so like I think playing 4 Rune of Flight, 4 Rune of Might, 4 Rune Crown, 4 Finn, 4 what's it? Once Upon a Time? Is that what I'm thinking of? I want collected. Yeah, Once Upon a Time. So it lets you grab a land or a creature, so that lets you try to get to Finn. So what else do you got? I think so. Adventurous Impulse. Now, granted, you're talking. Can I look at standard legal stuff? Okay, so Adventurous Impulse. Oh, because it was reprinted in Ikoria. Okay, so Adventurous Impulse. Maybe play Gilded Goose just because it lets you make whatever color mana. And you could consider putting Death Touch on it. So you could play the Black Rune as well. So you could play maybe a Sultai type deck. And you always have like Moss Viper, which can just take anything down. That's not even terrible. Just trying to see what else. Tutors. Adventure Awaits, I think, is good too. So, like, you have good ways to try to tutor up your Finn. So, I definitely think there is some kind of deck that could be built in Standard with Finn. So, like, Finn, runes, one or two other creatures with Death Touch, maybe some of the there's a counter in blue that I think would be really good, and then like, or maybe even get a play Search for Glory, because Search for Glory gets to go search for snow permanents and legendaries. So come on, so that can go grab Finn. Next up is In Search of Greatness. Green cost. Enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may cast a permanent spell from your hand with converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the highest converted mana cost among other permanents you control without paying its mana cost. If you don't, scry 1. I'm going to say now, if you play Commander and you like playing green, or you like playing decks that are 3, 4, and 5 colors that play green, you need to go pick these up. These are gonna just go sky high after the set's done printing. Like, you may think this is a dollar crap rare. This is a card that gives option of filtering if you don't feel like just getting a free spell, or if you don't have a free spell. So it helps you scry to try to smooth out your draws, or it just lets you slam stuff into play. Also, it makes Super Friends even more sweet and crazy. So you play this, during your next upkeep, you get a free 3 cost. Guaranteed. That's great. Free 3 costs means you can just slam like a Sika. Then you play another 3 cost of some sort. And then during your next turn, you get a free 4 cost. I think this card is going to be a slam dunk in Commander and Gladiator. Constructed, there's probably something you can do. I actually do think this could even be a card to add into the Finn deck. Just because you can play Finn, or you can play like In Search of Greatness turn 2. You can play the Ruined Crown. Turn 3 during your upkeep, tutor up a rune for flying or trample, which is going to draw you an extra card. I'm pretty sure. I'll have to recheck the Ruined Crown. And then you have a bunch of your other stuff that lets you just try to get your Finn into play. So like I think this is a deck I want to build. So Finn, In Search of Greatness, I think those work great together. And then maybe a couple other, actually maybe even playing Finn with a Sika so that he can just have vigilance. I think that's a pretty cool combo. We may not be able to play the Prismatic Bridge, and we lost all of our text. Huh. Wonder why we lost our text. Huh. That's... At least I have my notes. Anyways, let's keep going. Don't worry about Magic being broken. There we go. Never mind. We got it back. Okay, so after In Search of Greatness, Jorn, God of Winter, and Cauldring, the Rhyme Staff. So Jorn, 2 and a green, legendary snow creature god. When he attacks, untap each snow permanent you control. Notice that it says each snow permanent. That's lands. He untaps your lands as long as there's snow. I think Jorn comboed with, like the Ice Hide Troll. So let's say they both cost 3, unfortunately, but let's say you attack with both. Jorn Trigger goes on the stack to untap your permanents. In response, you activate the ability of Ice Hide Troll, which I think costs 2 snow. You give him +2/+0 and indestructible. Then it says to tap him. Well, you're already attacking, so he's already tapped. That resolves. He's a 4/3 indestructible. You're attacking with Jorn. He's a 3/3. Now, Jorn untaps himself, that Ice Hide Troll, plus the lands you use to pay for the Ice Hide Troll's ability. That's crazy. I think that's going to make for a possibility of some kind of deck that is super aggressive. And again, in that same deck, I think In Search of Greatness is still good. You play Search of Greatness turn 2, that lets turn 3, you slam either Jorn or like Ice Hide Troll, and then you cast the other one. So like In Search of Greatness, I do think has a possibility of seeing some standard play, especially with mono green. I don't know how strong it's gonna be, but I think that's really cool and interactive and can really help some tempo plays. Going to the other side though, Cauldron the Rhyme Staff, blue, black, and 1. Legendary Snow Artifact, tap. You may play target snow permanent card from your graveyard this turn. If you do, it enters the battlefield tapped. I'm not sure how many good snow permanents there are other than lands, but what all are you going to get into the graveyard? Other than late game, I feel like a deck that's playing Jorn with a few other things, like playing Jorn and then playing these snow duels that we're going to talk about a little later. The fact that they come into play tapped, you attack with Jorn and you untap those duels, and then you could use extra copies of Jorn to cast a Cauldron. Like, I would consider playing 4 copies of Jorn. And then your Cauldron lets you pull back. We'll say you want to put some snow creatures in because you want them to be able to be untapped with Jorn. You want to be able to play them again with Cauldron. I think... So I think there's a good mono green deck. I feel like there's a good Sultai deck with Jorn. I'm just not 100% sure how good it is versus everything else that is available in Standard. But there's definitely some new decks you can brew. Kaldheim, God of Kinship, green and 2, legendary god. It is a 2/4, but if you control 3 or more legendary creatures, gets +4/+2 and has vigilance. 1 and a green, you look at the top 6 cards of your library and you can reveal a green or a legendary creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I like it. A potential 6/6 for 4? It's great. I really do like it. The fact that you could pay 2 mana and tap it to try to dig for some legendary creatures, it's good too. But going over to the Ringheart Crest, 2 mana. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Add green. Spend only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type or a legendary creature spell. So if you're playing a fair number of legendary spells, the Ringheart Crest is not bad. It's really not. If you're playing tribal, it's not bad. Overall, I like Kaldheim. Not 100% sure on power level of this card, but the Ringheart Crest, personally, just not a big fan of it. Probably a card I would pass on playing most of the time for Constructed. Kaldheim, I would definitely play in Commander. Just don't know about the Ringheart Crest. Now, moving on to Weathered Runestone. 2 mana for, so it's an extra mana. It's an extra mana to be a better Grafdigger's Cage. Okay, players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries. Grafdigger's Cage says the exact same thing. Creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield. Non-land permanent cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield. So for an extra mana, it shuts down more than just creatures. That is pretty cool. I'm just, like, I think it is, it's not necessarily a better Grafdigger's Cage because it's not the same cost, so it's a little more expensive. But I do think it is strictly an upgrade, so it stops a lot of. There's some things that it stops. I can't think of anything in particular in like historic or standard because I don't know a whole lot. But the fact that they both have the same secondary text line of can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries, again, is very big with stopping stuff like escape. So overall, a great card to add into standard. And I think it's going to see play in historic too. Just personal opinion. I think it's going to see play. So now let's go over these here. So we have our Snow Duels. Alright. Snow Duels, my opinion, slam dunk. They may enter the battlefield tapped, but in other formats, they are fetchable. So Commander, these are going to be great additions to mana bases. They are great budget duels. They do enter the battlefield tapped all the time. And the fact that these are commons, man. The fact that they are commons, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to pick these up for next to nothing. You need good mana bases for Commander? Well, here you go. These just got so much better. If you're already playing fetches and you don't want to spend the money on duels, as we all know, the rise in prices of everything reserve list, things are going crazy. I think these are great. I really like them. And they're duels. Now, this set has 4 pathways. So white-blue, which I think is a great upgrade for historic. Black-red, which I think the sacrifice decks might take advantage of playing a couple copies. As well as black-green. And then we have blue-black. So these two, I think Sultai will take advantage of playing a couple copies. I feel like this one will see a lot more play in Sultai because of Uro. Because having better options to get Growth Spiral turn 2 is going to be very big. Like turn 2 Growth Spiral into turn 3 Uro with 2 mana up to do something else is pretty ridiculous. This is going to be a big one for that deck. I don't know if Uro is going to end up getting a ban at all, but we're not going to get into what I think needs banned in historic at all. So yeah, so all the pathways, good. World Tree. Let's go over World Tree. If you are playing a 4 to 5 color deck, I don't care that this comes into play tapped. It's also not legendary. That is nice too. This taps to add green. So this helps you play your mana acceleration type cards. And once you have 6 or more lands, your land's now all tapped for any color. Now you don't care. You have great fixing. Although I'm not paying Progenitus mana to sacrifice it and search for God cards though, I don't necessarily think I'm going to be playing enough gods. But if you're playing this in Commander, the fact that it fixes your mana is great. If you're playing in Commander, you're playing 5 colors. If you're playing this in Gladiator, you're playing up to 5 colors. that is all the cards that I really think are super powerful. Well, these are all the cards I really like from the set. There are a lot more cards, but these are just personal favorites. But let's go ahead and let's open up some packs. We actually, discard changes, we actually have 50 packs of Kaldheim to go ahead and open up. So we'll see what kind of stuff we get out of here. Let's see, we got a Mystic Reflection. Currently, nothing that I talked about so far. Let's see here. Oh, we got the World Tree. That is nice, the World Tree. I do like Pyre of Heroes. Let's see, what else here? I do kind of like Realm Walker, just not 100% sure what to do with it yet. It's kind of neat. Alright, last set of 10, and then we'll go in and see what all we pulled. Oh, we got a Cosima. And this Mask Wood Nexus. So we'll just go to our collection here. So, Raptor, Giant Ox. So, none of these are particular. Rune of Sustenance, I don't mind. I probably wouldn't play it. Let's see. Runeforged Champion. When he enters the battlefield, you may search your library or graveyard for a rune card, reveal it, put it in your hand. And you could pay 1 rather than the mana cost for rune spells. Wow. We got our Cosima. We got our full playset of Depart the Realms already. We do have a Mystic Reflection. Let's see. I do kind of like this. I'm not sure what we can do with it yet. Raven form is not a terrible piece of removal. Augury Raven. Got 3 Behold the Multiverse. I again do like this card. This one's pretty neat. I like it. Not sure how I feel about Icebreaker Kraken. Okay, we got 1 black rune. Did not pull a blue rune, did we? Nope, did not pull a blue rune. Okay, so we did get a Tybalt Cosmic Imposter. As far as removal goes, Poison the Cup seems pretty good. Open the Omen Paths is neat for a card that gives you some mana. Elvish War Master. There's a couple Rune of Mights. So that's nice. That deck could be coming along for us. Path to the World Tree. Oh, not a whole lot here. There's 3 Icehide Trolls. We have started getting some land. Oh, wow. We have a play set of these already. It's pretty nice. We got 2 of those. 2 of those. 1. Oh, 3 of those already. Oh, Waking the Trolls. I do kind of want to build around this card. Got 2 of those. Not bad for 50 packs. Forge Master seems neat. Not sure what to do with him yet, but I think it seems neat. Got a playset of those. Wow. 3. Wow. We start pulling some more packs. We should be able to finish off really fast. We got a World Tree. Oh, and we did pull a Weathered Runestone. Okay, here we go. Replicating Ring. It's not terrible. Scorn Effigy, I'm not sure. I don't think it's a terrible card. Is a 2 mana 2/3. You just have to pay 2 for it and cast it later. Maskwood Nexus, I think, is pretty neat too. Stay tuned for some drafts and sealed.